Yeah, I'd say this is the best kind of hosting you'll ever see.
Oh, both, yeah. On anything ever.
We don't.
We don't, no.
Simply because I cannot watch. Not just pods, but any job I've done, I can't watch it for what it is. I remember what we were doing when we were filming, or what was going on in my life at that time. So it's when it's on, it's cool to see. Apart from the first movie, because my voice is really high,
Brutal.
and it's really embarrassing. But it's cool to watch it, knowing that you were part of it, and the people that were, seeing your friends on screen as well. That's always fun.
Like, say for people of an older generation, they had the books, they had the films as they were coming out, and they maybe think back to a time that they would read the books with, say, a grandparent, or go and watch the films with, a parent or a date or something like that. And now fast forward all these years later, it takes them back, it reminds them back of that connection with that person, or that event, that friendship group they were with at the time, or where they were living, or something like that. So there's definitely a nostalgic element to it. But then you've got the new side of things, where people they're still getting hooked in from what the original fans were as well. Like, there was, as I said, like, so my daughter, like, one of her friends is a huge Harry Potter fan. She's 8. So to be able to see them with that new generation is really cool, which is why we're sure so many multi-generations will be into watching Wizards of Baking.
One which I'll always remember was when we were filming the first movie. There's an eating scene, and there are quite a few feast scenes in those, right? And I can remember the first take, we were told, just eat what you want. So I was literally eating as much as I can. I look over and I remember looking straight at Maggie, and she literally had like the tiniest thing to nibble on her fork. And I was like, why are you not eating as much as you can? And she's like, I just said this after, and she's like, oh, you'll see. And then come later that day, when we're on take 30 of a different angle, I still had to do the same amount of eating that I did the first take. So yeah, one thing that we learned from Maggie and all the other adult actors was not just their preparation in the actual acting part of it, but actually the craft of when you're there, like, they're always on time.
Perhaps it would be more useful if I were to transfigure Mr. Potter and yourself into a pocket watch. That way one of you might be on time.
They're always professional with the crew and the cast and everybody. And like, no one was kind of on their own, don't talk to me. Like, we very much were made to feel like we're their colleagues.
Clearly, fame isn't everything.
As James said, just feeling part of it. Like, we never felt like there was a them and us type thing. We're all part of the same thing, and in the makeup room together and stuff like that, and just talking about whatever, any, like, a soup recipe or something like that going around. It was just something where, in hindsight, you look back and think, wow, what a special time.
We filmed one episode in the Great Hall. In a film where people reminisce things, and it all goes shh, 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 shh. It's literally that happened. I had like 100 memories come back in 1 second. It's quite a cool experience. There's not many places in the world where people can go and reminisce like that.
It was so cool to go back there. I mean, it's definitely had a facelift since we were filming Potter there, since they've rebuilt the whole studios, which was really exciting to see. But just in terms of actually being on the sets again when we were filming on there, it was like being like you jumped on a time machine and just gone straight back. Like, with no time in between, it was really exciting. Yeah, definitely not. It was definitely something which was, when the producers put it to us and asked if we'd want to get involved on the project, it just ticked all the boxes for us. It was, and it actually, of all the projects I've done, it's the one that my wife and daughter are both like, oh my gosh, baking show, yes.
Yeah, we love baking shows in general. That's normally always a big thing, which in our household. And to be honest, we've always wanted to do hosting and this kind of stuff. So it was it was like a tick, 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 tick. I'd say this is the best kind of hosting you'll ever see.
Oh, both, yeah. On anything ever. It was definitely something where we were, I think from being fans of shows like that, you kind of see what works in terms of at the end of the day, the contestants are the main focus of the show. We're there to kind of bridge the gap, as it were, between the audience and them. But it was just really cool to be able to do, and we were encouraged to just be ourselves and bring our own humor to a point to it. But we know that these guys are working under quite a stressful time constraint to get these bakes done. So we weren't going to be hiding any utensils from the contestants, that's for sure.
These kind of shows are something, especially this time of year, they're on all the time in my household. My wife loves them. So when we were first initially approached to do this show, I was very excited because this is something Oliver and I we've always wanted to do, but hosting in general, like we've done a couple of travel series and all that kind of stuff. But when we were asked to do this, we knew it was going to be, high standard work, and it really was. Like the bakers are the best of the best that are doing it. The crew are literally the best that do this kind of thing.
Yeah, Warner Bros. Studios in London. So that was cool in itself, like being able to go back there. I mean, we filmed there before on like last night in Soho. We did a day there or 2 days there, but it was cool to go back in like the Potter world, and the set they built for the kitchen, as you probably saw, is not like when they said they were building a kitchen for the contestants. I didn't assume it would be like that, So it's like almost a nod to the Great Hall. There's different elements to it as well. So it's definitely in the Potter world. But randomly, and no one knew this until we told them on the day, that B stage was where the Great Hall was when we were filming the original movies, and that's where this kitchen was. So that was awesome. And then going on to the studio tour. Because the studio tour still gets like 7,500 people a day traveling through it. So we had to film at night on these sets to film it. And I remember just standing in the Great Hall and thinking, we could have finished filming yesterday. Like it was just this whole, almost like the years in between never happened, because it's like jumping into a time warp. We still hang out quite regularly anyway. Like they are schoolmates, so literally, so it was just great to be able to share the experience with them, and especially Warwick Davis as well, because he's such a nice guy. And so when he came in and being able to have like share that, it's one thing sharing the experience with your brother and everything in that regard, but sharing it with fellow castmates, that was great as well, because it felt like it was wrong of us just to have so much fun without sharing with other people that were in the world with us as well, if that makes sense. So, and I know that they got a big kick out of being there too. We kind of all live literally all over the shop these days, but we do get to see quite a few of the guys. Like if we're, I don't know, like even going to see our local soccer team play, or the team I support. There's like Alfie Enoch is a big fan of them as well, so we'll go to watch the football together. Or
Yeah. I'm always like there's Tom Felton and I play golf every so often, and there's quite an ongoing rivalry with that. Like Bonnie Wright, like say Evie, yeah, a lot of the guys. Well, we're in New York at the moment. Last time we were here, I met up with Dan for a coffee. So yeah, it's like friends from high school or college. Like you may not see each other all the time, but you're gonna meet up if you can, if you're in the same area. I mean, we know as much as anybody else, so that's all I can say. Really, it's yeah, great. If whoever's in it, as long as they have fun, I think that's the main thing, because that's what we all of us who did the Potter films did. And yeah, it's I guess it's for a new generation, if that's what they're saying. But what we've seen is, especially doing this, and what we've learned is that kids now, like people who were kids when the first film came out, they've got their own kids now, and those kids are watching the movies and that kind of stuff. So yeah, if it's a new twist on it, great. And but as long as they have fun, that's the main thing.
It would be a bit odd, I think, because we would be like, oh, so who's that guy? That's not Harry. So, or maybe they would be. I don't know. It's definitely something maybe we'd have to come across and watch it type thing. But then at the same time, I'm sure it'll be like everything that Potter touches its hands to. They do it with such precision and to such a high quality. Like I always remember when we were told that they were opening a Harry Potter theme park down at Universal. And my first thought was they were just going to rebrand Dueling Dragons at Islands of Adventure, instead of actually building a whole new world with Hogwarts Castle there. So they always do it to the best of their ability. So I'm sure it'll be to a high standard.
I was just curious, so many people in the Harry Potter universe are really talking about, the death of Maggie Smith. I was wondering if there was any kind of memories you can share, as we all remember her and how special she was to Harry Potter.
I get to if I could kind of tie in as well in relation to us doing this show. I always remember her just being as professional as you could imagine, always being on time, if not early. And then always giving everyone as the time that if anyone comes to you with anything, give them that time as well. Like, and she was always very giving with her time, and she never made us, even from like, I remember the first time I met her properly was when we were all waiting to be, we were staying in a hotel in the north of England, filming on location. And I just went over and said, like, introduced myself to her. And I remember she had a book and she put her book down and really gave me the time of day. And from that moment, I never felt like a child actor and she's the adult actor. It literally felt like we were co-workers. And so anytime like when we went on to this show, it was literally when I walked on set, I made sure to say hello to everybody in the crew, say hello to, do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
those experiences from her, and that's something I'm always grateful that she taught us.